see me.
Oh, you're recording.
We're recording.
Dun, dun.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Norm.
I'm Lisa.
And today we're continuing our talk about our Nerdz Day haul. Try to get those out of the way before the next one comes in August. So
Today we are talking about Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Nailed it.
Quedlinburg.
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
So this is
It's a good game. It's a fun game. There, we did it. We wrapped it up.
Okay.
Join us next time.
And I'm going to talk about the game a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So this game is a push your luck game where you're getting ingredients to put into your bag, and you're drawing them out and putting them into your cauldron in a way that you're trying not to bust. The further around you go, the more points you'll get, the more stuff you'll get to be able to buy new items to put in. So you're going to have these different colored, different numbered pieces that when you draw them out of your bag, you put them down onto your board. If you draw 1, it goes 1 space ahead. A 2 would go 2 spaces, 3, and so you're filling them out there. And these come in different values, and they also have different powers that happen either when you place them in your cauldron or at the end of the round when everyone passes or busts. So a lot of what you're going to be doing is trying to fine-tune your bag of ingredients the way that you want them to be. You might go with a lot of the orange and the reds because they play off each other a lot, or some things like that. The black ones, when you have them out on your board, they trigger based off of how many black ones that other people have. So there's kind of like an arms race there, where once somebody buys one, you kind of feel like you got to buy one too.
Everybody starts buying them.
Otherwise, that person just gets a free bonus every time they play out their black ingredient. So, and you also have,
Which is a moth, isn't it?
Yes, it looks like a moth with the skull on the back.
So you want to go over a little bit of each ingredient?
So I was going to mention that you have the white ingredients that you start in your bag, and you're only allowed a certain number of those. I don't think I grabbed.
Where are the plastic cardboard white ones?
I don't think I grabbed those.
Oh.
But once you're only allowed to have 7 points worth of the white ones out here, and you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 11 points worth in your bag, and at the start of the game, you have 13 points worth of things. So you have a green and an orange, and then 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles of varying amounts of the orange. I mean the white.
The white.
So most of the time, early in the game, you're going to be pulling your whites out, but you need to stop at or before you hit 7.
As soon as you hit 8, your cauldron overflows, explodes, and then you are busted. You're out.
And so you stop drawing right then, and you only get to do one of the 2 things that you can do at the end of your turn. At the end, when everyone passes, you've got a number in brown, which is a smaller number, which is how many points you'll get for that round. And the larger number is how many points you have to buy the different things that are out here.
The different ingredients.
And so for like example, a level 1 of this costs 5, a level 2 costs 10, and a level 4 costs 19. So if I had 11, I could get one of the 5s and something else, because are you allowed multiples of the same color?
Not of the same color. You can buy 2 at the max ingredients, but you cannot get 2 of the same color.
And so I might choose to spend my 11 on the number 2 blue here, and then that would be the only one that goes into the bag, and then you would reset. If you explode, you choose one of those two. Do you want the points, or do you want the value to buy more ingredients? And so there's a benefit to not overflowing your cauldron because you get the points and a buy. So the game is played out over 9 rounds, and the scores are kept around here. There's a bit of a catch-up mechanism where you have rats scattered around the scoring board, and depending on how far ahead of somebody else you are.
We should have the overhead camera going for this, but we don't.
So there's a rat tail here between 1 and 2. So if I had 2 points and Lisa had 1, she gets to start the round with a bonus of however many rat tails are between us. So that would be...
So if there's 3 rat tails between us, my starting...
would start in the 0.
What is this, droplet, would start at the 3, because that's how many rat tails are between us.
Your drop would actually be at the 0, and then you have a little token.
Oh,
rat
that's right. That's right.
That goes
Yep.
on the 3.
And then you would start extending out from the rat token.
And then the rat would go back down here, because where your drop starts and where your rat starts can change from turn to turn. Also, every round there are these
Gypsy cards.
gypsy cards. Are they called gypsy cards?
I think so.
So
or fortune teller cards.
Fortune tellers,
Fortune
I
teller
believe.
cards.
And you just flip one over, and it will have something that either affects immediately or during the round. So this one, every player will choose to take 4 victory points or remove one of their white 1-point chips from the bag. And so you get to make the decision, is it worth taking the 4 points and keeping that one white chip in the bag, or should that be removed? Or there's some that say at the end of the round, all your flasks get a free refill. Because we didn't explain the flasks.
No, we didn't.
So the flasks have printed on it, you can put a white token back into your bag. It's kind of a mixture that you can use to calm down your cauldron. The only rule for that is if you draw a white ingredient that would cause your pot to overflow, it's too late. You can't use this. So you can't use this if the chip will put you over 7. But say you were at 6, if you're at 5 and you flipped over a 1, that would put it at 6. And you want to keep going a little bit, you can flip this flask over, put that 1 back in the bag, draw again. And hopefully not draw that 1 back out. But so you've got some ways that you can mitigate what you draw out of the bag, because there is the luck factor.
And then each round, when you get to certain rounds, it actually unlocks a new ingredient for you that you can then start to buy. So I think at level 2, a new ingredient opens up, the ginger root. Or no, that's the mandrake.
Mandrake.
And then at level 3, the purple opens up.
Don't know what you call this. It's a little slimy creature with a face.
So let's talk about the ingredients.
Okay. So one ingredient that you always start with is your pumpkin. And it's just a 1-point orange chip that you can buy for 3, but it doesn't do anything. It's got no instructions over here. So it's just
not a white. Oh, you dropped it. It's gone forever.
So next one.
So the next one you start with in your bag is a green, and it's a spider. And there's 3 levels. There's a 1, 2, there's a 1, 2, and then a 4, and they cost 4, 8, and 14. And then for each green chip that is the last or next to last ingredient in your pot, you'll receive a ruby. And the rubies will actually get you, you can spend 2. Is it 2?
Yeah, it's 2 rubies.
So you can spend 2 rubies to actually start the next round with your droplet forward 1. And that in each round, anytime you're using rubies to extend your droplet, it keeps going. That's where it starts at the next round. So you're never going to go back to 0. You'll continue on for as many times as you use the rubies. So that's one way to collect your rubies. You can also spend 2 rubies to refill your flask. So if you've used your flask, you flip it over. Then the next round you can spend 2 rubies to get your flask back at the start of that round. So greens, the spiders will help you get the rubies. And then again, there's a 1, there's a 2, and then there's a 4, which just depends when you pull it how far out you go from the previous tile. The reds are the mushrooms, and this plays off of your pumpkins. So depending, and again, there's 3 levels of those. There's a 1, 2, and the 4. They cost 6, 10, or 16. If there are already orange chips in your pot, so if you already have pumpkins on your board, move the red chip forward according to the chart. So if you have 1 to 2 pumpkins already out, you'll move your red an additional 1. So if you pull out your 4, you'll move it 5 out. If you have 3 or more pumpkins already out on your board, you'll move it your red tile 2. So if you draw the 2, you'll move it 4. If you draw the 4, you'll move it out 6. So that's a great way to extend your tiles. So the more pumpkins you have out, the better your red are going to play off of that.
So it makes sense to buy pumpkins and the mushrooms together.
Right.
So those will trigger.
And then we've got the blues are my favorite. Absolutely. So 3 levels of those, 1, 2, and 4. They cost 5, 10, and 19. And I think these are bird skulls. Look like bird skulls. And for this one, depending on which tile you pull out, you'll put that, draw 1, 2, or 4 chips from your bag. And you may place one of them in your pot. So if I pull out the 1 tile, I get to put it down. But then I also get to draw 1 more out of my bag. And I can decide if I want to play that or not. If I don't, I just put it back in my bag and I continue on. If I draw the 4, I'll put the blue tile out 4 from the previous one. I'll draw 4 tiles out of my bag. And of those 4, I get to choose one to play out. So if the 4 that I pull out, if one of them happens to be a blue, I'll put that out as far as it goes, and then I get to draw again. So the more blues you have, the more you can play off of them over and over. So I like the blues a lot. Next, we'll do the mandrakes. Mandrakes, if the previously placed chip was a white chip, you put that chip back into your bag. So again, there's 3 levels of those, the 1, 2, and 4. And if I've got a white chip as my last one in my pot, if I draw the yellow, then I can choose to put that white chip back into my bag. So that gives you some additional time to keep trying to fill your board up. So the yellows are good for that. And then purple. So for the purple, there's just 1 of them. And it costs a 9, and it's only a 1 space. So you can only put it 1 out. For 1, 2, or 3 purple chips, you receive the indicated bonus. So the more purples you have on your pot, the more bonus you'll get. So for 1 purple, you get 1 point. For 2 purples, you get a point and a ruby. And then for 3 or more purple on your board, you get 2 points, and you get to move your droplet up 1. So there's benefits to the more purple you have on your board. And then finally is the black, which is the moth that Norm was mentioning earlier. So those are only 1 as well, and they cost 10. But if you draw more black chips than the 1 player sitting next to you, you'll get to move your droplet ahead once on your board. If you draw more black chips than both players sitting next to you, then you get to move your droplet forward 1 and you get a ruby. So that's another way to get a ruby there.
And so that's why when somebody buys one of the black chips, you might want to start buying a black chip too, just so they don't keep getting that, because they sit beside you and draw that chip out.
Yeah, you don't want them to get the bonus. We want the bonus. And what's interesting about these is they're double-sided, and there's actually 3 of each, so there's 6 different levels.
I think there's 2 of every color.
Oh, just 2 of every color.
Expansions might give you more.
Okay, so there's
4.
There's 2 of every color, and they're dual-sided, so you get 4 different ways to play that particular color tile. So you can mix and match. They all have different. What we gave you was just the starting, the first level. So you could choose, look at all of them and choose which one you like best. Of course, the more advanced you get, the more difficult they are, the more intense they are. So for new people playing, the level 1s are probably the best way to go for those. Shall we tell them what we did? If you saw,
yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing.
If you saw our Nerdz Day haul video, you would have heard Norm when we took this game out of the box. Norm commented that he really hoped we didn't like this game because there was a lot of components that you could upgrade to, and they could be pricey. So he said he was actually really hoping that we didn't like the game, but he had a feeling I would like the game, and sure enough, I liked the game. So the game gives you, as the base game, it just gives you these little cardboard ingredient tiles. So they're cardboard, the color of the ingredient, and so that's what you've got. The upgraded components give...
You might as well grab one of the others.
Okay. The upgraded component... They're little plastic. Yeah, I'd say they're plastic.
Yeah, I think they're acrylic.
They're little acrylic or plastic ingredient tiles. So they're way better. I mean, they're just nice.
The cardboard is functional and it's fine, and we played it quite a bit with them. But since you're constantly handling them, the oils from your hands will get on them, and they'll start getting icky and gross.
But listen to this. Isn't that nice? That's just pleasing. You just reach in and you're going to pull out a tile, and it's a white one, so that's not what I want. And so it's nice. And the more you have in there, let's just dump them. Just listen to that. That's just wonderful. It may get on someone's nerves, but I love it. And so I've made a mess. So we upgraded to the more nicer.
Well, I was putting it off as long as possible, but then Board Game Geek, not a sponsor, their geek store had a sale for their different things on their store, and it was a differing amount of savings depending on how many different things you got. I think it was like up to 4 things. And you would get the maximum of like 50% off or something. If you bought one thing, it was like 15% off or whatever it was. And so
if it's on sale, my husband will most likely buy it.
I will definitely give it a glance, because I did not want to pay full price for these things. Because even with the sale, I think the upgrades were more expensive than what we got the game for on Nerdz Day.
Which is crazy. But was this also part of the sale?
Yeah.
Okay. So we also got...
There's these little boxes that will hold the pieces in their numerical values. And they also come with a nice little place to hold.
Look at that. And so the black only has 1 value, so it's just 1 open container.
They got a nice little slope to them, so when you reach in, you can just slide them out.
It's just so nice.
And so
we got those for, of course, all the ingredients.
And so, yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I got the bits, the acrylic bits for the base game. I got these, and I also got the acrylic bits for the expansion.
That we don't have yet?
That we don't have. But
Why are there 2 for the pumpkins?
Because there's different pumpkins in the expansion.
Okay, so these containers are expansion related as well.
Yeah.
Or expansion supported.
So to get the best discount, it made sense to also get the bits for the expansion, even though we haven't got the expansion yet.
And they just stack so well. Isn't this nice?
They're a great upgrade for this game. If this is a game you enjoy, yep. I think these are a must-have.
Well, and you had also seen, if you've seen previous videos, we had ordered these little cork coasters from IKEA, I think. Mm-hmm. And so we use these for almost every board game we play that have components that you just have out on the board. So when we first started playing Quacks, we used these to hold all of the ingredients. So we had these kind of scattered around the table. And now that we have these containers, it's just so much nicer. It looks better. Their colors match. For someone who is a neat freak like me, it's pleasing. And so that we just use the cork to hold the rubies.
So yeah, these coasters at IKEA, they're like 2 for $1. Well,
they were. So, who knows what they were? This was pre-pandemic, so who knows what they are now.
But yeah, they're great for holding your
we
components.
Use them in almost every game. So
yeah, so I guess it's safe to say that if I spent this much money on the component upgrades, that I'm planning on keeping the game. So
we haven't rated it yet, Norman.
So I don't think it matters. I think if it was rated a 1, I think I've spent enough on this game that it
we've already invested way too much. The game is staying forever.
So no, I'm sure that if we wanted to get rid of it, there'd be somebody else who would love to have these upgrades to go with it. But so, do you want to start the
Let's score
reviewing, or should I start?
No, I'm going to start. Because again, you influence, because you think deeper than I do. I'm a super surface level board game player. So for me, components, playability. I will give this a 7. And I keep going 7 on all these games. We gotta stop reviewing games I like so much because everything's a 7. So I'm giving this, with the new upgraded components, I'm giving it a 7 because they're just pleasing. Are we gonna score with our upgrades or just with the base?
I'm okay with.
We have the upgrade, so we're gonna just.
I mean, if you want to mention if it changes with the base,
it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. These are totally functional.
They're totally functional. They work fine. They're still fine to just kind of mix them in the bag. But just these nicer components, it's just pleasing. Whatever. So I give it a 7. The game is quick to learn. It's very simple in the explanation of it, and it's pleasing just to kind of keep adding. Just watching your opponents as well and seeing if they bust, you just get that primal just enjoyment out of seeing them bust, and then you keep going. But then it also gives you that feeling of, okay, they've busted. Okay, I'm a little bit further than they are, so I'll hold off even though I could probably go further. So it makes you a little bit more cautious to not want to explode your cauldron because you want to win. So I give it a 7.
Okay, and then
no, you vote your stuff.
I would go 7 as well. I mean, like you said, we're giving a lot of these games a 7 for gameplay. There's only been a couple that we haven't, but I think that our hobby has gotten to the point where most designers have their designs just tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I do think that it seems to me like the flask is a little bit underpowered. It's nice to be able to put that one white chip back in your bag, but I never feel like spending 2 rubies to flip it back over.
Right, that's true. And I find I never use my flask. I'll find you'll use your flask a whole lot more than I will, but I'll find there is a fortune teller card that Norm said that you can refresh your flask. So if that one comes out, then I am for sure using my flask that round because I'll get it back. But other than that, there'll be times that I don't even remember that I have it until the very last round. So in round 9, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't used my flask at all, so I'll use it then. So for me, the flask is a take it or leave it. It's not for me something that I utilize every game. To be honest, I forget that we have it. One thing we didn't talk about. Sorry, we're jumping. The cauldron is a dual-sided board as well. So this side gives you a little bit of a different play. So you've got all of these things here. You still have your flask, but you move these things up depending on if you want bonuses. Yeah.
Put down.
So you can choose to do this instead of, what is it?
So whenever you would move your drop forward 1 up here, you can choose instead to move your droplet forward here, and you would get the bonus that it shows. The first time you move it up, you get a ruby. Second time is 1 point. The third time is a blue 1 chip. And so you can just keep moving up and get all these rewards instead of moving this up. Personally, I kind of like this side better.
Yeah.
But that's just because nothing's changed. Everything that's on this side is still on this side. You just have this option. You could choose to never move this up, and it's just like you were playing on the other side of the board. So having this here is just another option that you can choose to use if you want. And so I really like this side of the board just because it adds something to the game and doesn't take anything away from it. And if other people don't want to play with this side of the board, then if they're okay with me playing with this side of the board and they stick to this side because they like the layout of this one, then if they'll let me, I'll play this side.
We didn't talk about the dice either. We're inexperienced to this, so just bear with us.
We're not YouTube reviewers. We don't know what we're doing.
We're just talking about games. There is a die that you will roll. Whoever gets the furthest along their cauldron without exploding gets to roll the die. And so when you roll it, you get whatever bonus there is.
Give you a random little bonus.
So there's a ruby, you get points, you get a pumpkin, you get to move your droplet forward. So just little small random bonuses that you can get for being the furthest on your board that round without exploding.
Just something else to encourage you to push your luck and be like, I think the odds are against me, but I'm gonna try and get that one more.
I think I'm gonna win because I got all the yellows in here.
That's pretty crazy.
I got all the yellows, but I need some pumpkins.
So no, the yellows are the ones that let you take back.
Take back the whites. That's right. So I'm winning.
I think you're winning.
Okay, so 7 for components and playability, and then for the other, I'm going to give it a 1.5. Can I do that? I'm doing it. I'm giving them a 1.5. So I will always play it if it's suggested. It is another game that we will break out and play for people who are new to the gaming world. So if they don't understand the type of board games, this is a good introductory game. So we'll do that for them a lot. But it's another one of those kind of not a lot of intense thinking, not a lot of strategy. You're just pressing your luck. So it's a game that I'll play if there's not a whole lot of time. We've introduced it to quite a few people, and a lot of people, everyone we've introduced it to has liked it so far. So I'll give it a 1.5. It's not, why aren't we playing it right now? It's not a crazy competitive, but it's something I will play. It's something I will introduce to people. But it's not always going to be my first choice to introduce to people.
It depends on the person.
Yep.
Yeah. So my score is similar. I don't think I'm going to do the 0.5s.
Whatever.
But I would say 7 for gameplay, and I mean you're right. It is tight between 1 and 2. I think the difference there is who we're going to be playing with. Like I don't know that this is one that if it's just me and Lisa home one evening, I'll be like, hey, let's play Quacks. It could happen, but there's probably other games that I would rather sit down and play with just her. But if somebody comes over and wants to try a game, this is a decent one to do. It plays fairly quickly because every round except for the last one, everyone just keeps pulling out and playing stuff down until they stop. It's not, we don't have to wait for turns. You just keep playing. The last round, they suggest that you not do that, so people don't hold back and go slow and wait to see if everyone busts, and then they can play y'all. That one, everybody takes their turn at the same time. But for the most part, it's just like a real-time game. Plus, it's a push your luck game. One of the better ones I've played that is a great introduction to push your luck for people. It feels really good with the upgraded components in the bag.
And when I bust, I don't get mad. Usually when I play press your luck games, I'll get mad at myself if I bust. And this game is so light that I don't get angry if I bust.
Especially early on when you're not getting very far, where it's like, okay, I busted. I either can buy a new ingredient worth with a cost of 9 or less, or I can get 1 point. And so everyone else gets the 1 point and a buy. You're probably going to be like, I don't care about that 1 point. I'm going to buy, and I won't even miss that 1 point until the end of the game where I lose by 1. But so,
and then you're ready to throat punch people. But until then, it's good.
Yeah. So this would definitely get a bump up depending on who is there to play and how much time we got. But yeah, I would give it the 1 for an 8 total, because it's a very good game. If you're looking for a light game to introduce people, I would bump it up to a 9 for that. But for us personally, it's just an 8. So yeah, that's
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Quacks. I'm keeping it.
I'm keeping it.
Because it's an 8 that occasionally turns into a 9. So
I'm keeping it, not you.
So yeah. So we haven't really played a whole lot with the other sides, mixing it up. I'd like to do that. That might actually encourage me to actually play it with Lisa a little bit more. But I'm just keeping my score. And we've got the upgraded bits for the expansions. So if those get on sale, I keep my ear to the ground. I'll probably end up picking those up to see how those.
Yeah, we've already got everything we need for it.
We got the bits because how could I not?
How could you not?
They were on sale.
Oh, those must be the new pumpkins.
So there's
anyway. No, those are the new pumpkins.
We don't know what they are. We don't know what they are.
We're not opening it yet.
I haven't even opened it.
Nope.
So anyways, that is Quacks.
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
What are your guys' thoughts on it?
You know, what's interesting, when I heard that it was called Quacks, I was like, oh, it has to do with ducks. It's going to be cute. Let's play it. And then when he sets up the game and you see this cauldron, you're like, what does that have to do with Quacks?
There's no ducks. There's rats.
There's rats and there's cauldrons and spiders. What does that have to do with Quacks? And then, of course, back in this time, the doctors were quacks.
Yeah, we're making
potions,
additional potions, I guess,
to make you better using weird ingredients. So
we're a bunch of quacks.
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
So if this sounds like a game you would enjoy, I would encourage you guys to be quacks too.
Yep.
So
we'll be a group of quacks.
If you like what we're doing here and want to follow along as we continue through our game collection, deciding what to keep and what to get away, then subscribe. Click the bell for notifications.
And maybe soon we'll review a game we're ready to get rid of.
So it's bound to happen.
It's got to happen.
Yeah, I've been wanting to put some of the older games in the rotation, but with Nerdz Day coming up, I figured we better get through all these Nerd Day games that we got last year.
Yeah,
so.
but if we keep all the Nerds games, if we like them and keep them all, and then we get more games with this year's Nerds Day, we don't have room for them.
So we can make
We
room.
don't have room for them.
So it's just we'll just practice some shelf control.
You don't have shelf control.
It's all about controlling the shelf, controlling how things are sitting on the shelf.
It's usually every day I get home from work, there's a new game sitting on the table that he has gone to the used bookstore and found one.
So it's not every day, but
it's once a week.
Every now and then,
it's once a week.
I'll find something that's priced.
It's once a week,
such that I can't possibly pass it up.
He could pass it up. It's very easy to pass it up. So that's us for Quacks of Quedlinburg and the shelf control that we don't have. And by we, I mean him.
So hopefully we'll help you decide what kind of shelf control you have and whether a game is for you or not, if your tastes align with ours. So.
And we'll end on this sound.
Bye.
Bye.